The most sophisticated prison breaks often come in the most unexpected ways. When a guard delivered a meal to her cell, the woman looked at the spoon and the food and immediately had an idea for how to escape. Once the guard left, she started digging into the wall with the spoon. She was quietly thrilled. It was exhausting work, but the wall was soft enough to carve into. To keep the guards from noticing, she tore pages from a book, soaked them in water, and pressed the excavated dirt onto the surface of the paper so it matched the color of the wall. She then used the paper to cover the hole, hiding it in plain sight. The prison was built in a location surrounded by water on all sides, where strong winds blew year-round. She took the dirt she dug out and sprinkled it bit by bit through the window, letting the wind carry it away. She knew this escape would be a long game. To buy herself more digging time, she asked the guards if she could skip yard time and stay in her cell to read instead. To speed things up, she collected the broth from her meals and spread it evenly around the edges of the hole. The salt in the broth would slowly corrode the wall, making the dirt much easier to dig out. Using this method, she managed to carve out a tunnel 60 meters long over the course of 6 months. When everything was ready, her moment came. An inspector arrived for a routine visit, and she knew the prison would put on a performance to welcome him. She slipped out of her cell while the crowd was distracted. Since she hadn't been out in 6 months, none of the other inmates even recognized her. No one paid her any attention, which was exactly what she wanted. While everyone was watching the show, she quietly made her way toward the inspector's car and slipped underneath it. Meanwhile, a guard went to deliver her meal at the usual time. She knocked on the cell door but got no response. Sensing something was wrong, the guard rushed inside. The woman was gone. She immediately sounded the alarm, and the prison erupted into chaos. To ensure the inspector's safety, the guards quickly escorted him to his car and drove him away, with the woman clinging to the underside of the vehicle. Back at the cell, the warden screamed at the guards for letting one woman slip through their fingers. In a rage, she grabbed a book from the bed and hurled it at the wall, and it happened to knock away the paper covering the hole. The warden pulled back the paper and discovered a tunnel. They assumed the woman had escaped through it and immediately called in a detective to investigate. The detective crawled into the tunnel with a flashlight, inching forward carefully. The passage was steep, and he lost his footing, sliding all the way to the end, only to find it was a dead end. He had the guards pull him back out with a rope. In the cell, the detective found the worn-down spoon and concluded it was the tool she'd used to dig the tunnel. The guards were skeptical. There was no way a spoon could dig that fast. The detective flicked some dirt into a guard's mouth to make his point. The woman had used the salt from the broth to corrode the wall, speeding up the digging, and let the wind dispose of the loose dirt. The detective saw through the woman's true plan. She had used the inspector's car to escape the prison. The tunnel was never meant to be her way out. It was a decoy, designed to pull the guards' attention away from her real escape. By the time they crawled in and confirmed it was a dead end, 25 minutes had passed. More than enough time for her to ride out of the prison hidden beneath the car.